You're listening To The Point. Ready or not, let's keep it real at Turning Point.
All right, welcome to The Point. We are here today with Darwanna Ratliff, who joins us. And I was just sharing, I know a little bit about your story. I don't know a lot about you. I know you are full of energy. You're one of the most enthusiastic people to be around. You're just contagious. Like, I feel like I've already drank a Monster and I haven't. So, so tell us a little bit about your story, if you would.
Sure. So once again, I'm Darwanna Ratliff. I'm a native of New Orleans, Louisiana. I came into New Mexico in 2013 into Las Cruces and started a career here. But as a young woman, I had a rocky past, so to speak. Like I always like to say, I have gone over hills. And I always have to take a couple of steps back because it's not always easy to get over the hills. But the more hills you go over, the bigger, when you get to the bigger mountain, you can get past that one as well. I am a physician here in Las Cruces. However, my past was not the one that one would think is the straight and narrow path. I went to high school. I got into high school, and in high school, I got pregnant at age 16. At which time, I had my first child. I was a little bit 16, probably close to 17. I was a thumbsucker too, which I think was the big thing to be able to get through the hardships of what a teenage mom had to endure. My past was filled with those looks that, you're 16 and pregnant, you're never going to be anything. I was told this by my own mom and my grandmom. And although I maintained straight A's in school, they still didn't have the faith in me to be able to endure what it would take to be a mom and continue with life. So anyways, what I did was I was in an all-girls Catholic school when I got pregnant, and of course termination was not an option. So at the end of the day, they put me out of the school and I had to go to a special school for the pregnant girls.
That had to have been hard. So you lost all your friends.
Well, not really, because my friends, surprising as it may seem, they were disappointed, but they threw me a baby shower.
Oh.
Yes, I had no idea. So at the times when I thought I did lose all of my friends, all of a sudden they started calling me and, wondering how I was doing. And I was very private and, secluded because I didn't want to be amongst them because they were quote unquote better than me. So I didn't feel like, it was a good idea for me to maintain those friendships. But I got called in to one of their houses, and next thing I know, there's a bunch of them surprised, and there's this big baby shower that I had no idea about. But that showed me the value of true friendship, that they were there for me at that time, and I had nothing. So it was very appreciated, by me to get a little crib and some clothes for my baby. And of course, back then we didn't know what we were having, so I had all kinds of stuff, non-gender things. But nevertheless, I was able to maintain those friendships. But because I had such good grades in high school, like I said, I went to all-girls Catholic school. There was a nun, Sister Ignatia, who asked my parents to let me come back. And my parents were like, no, because number one, we have now to take care of a baby. We can't afford the tuition. And she goes, I will pay the tuition. Wow. I wanted to come back because I was really good in Spanish at the time. So she took a liking to me. And so I was out the first part of my senior year, and then I was able to go back with the promise that I would not have conversations about the baby and things like that. So I was really fortunate because the father of the baby's mom, it was her first grandchild, and she was very involved with helping take care of the baby. She didn't work, so she was the person who took care of him throughout the day. And I would get home from school and be bombarded with homework because now I had to get back and assimilate into a half a year that I lost and try to catch up to where my peers were. And I took honors classes because I felt like I needed to have the challenge. So nevertheless, again, I had her help. I finished high school, and then I went to college. So in college, I didn't have a relationship with the father of the baby of the first child. So I got into my first year of college. I did well, and of course I got a new boyfriend and got pregnant again. So here's pregnancy number 2. Unwelcomed, unplanned. But hey, it is what it is. I said, well, I have to do what I have to do. So what I'm gonna do is take as many classes as I can before this baby is due in June. Because I don't have time not to. I need to get these classes out of the way before the baby comes. Well, of course, he decides to come in April. Oh. In the middle of the semester. And I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? But the funny story is, and this is going to be really funny, honestly, I was getting ready to take a calculus test. I tell people this story all the time. And I had studied for this test. I was struggling in calculus. And so I studied for this test like you would not know. And as I was going across campus, my water bag broke. 32 weeks pregnant.
Oh.
But the test was that day. So I was like...
You did not go to the test.
Oh, yes, I did. I walked all the way across campus, climbed 3 flights of stairs with wet pants, and walked into the classroom.
Oh my gosh.
So of course I had a male teacher. I picked up my paper from his desk. I moseyed onto my desk and sat down fully wet and opened my paper, and he came to my desk and he whispered, "What are you doing here?" He says, "What happened to you?" And I said, "Oh, my water bag just broke." While I was coming to the test. And I was like, "But I'm going to take the test and then I'm going to go to the hospital." And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "No." Now, remember, we're talking in hushed tones because this whole classroom is taking this test. And he goes, "You're not kidding, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm going to take the test and then I'll go." And he goes, "You will leave now." "You are out of here." And I was like, no, but I have to take the test. And he's like, "Out of my classroom, out." And so, of course, I'm crying because I can't do this. I have to take this test because I'm struggling and I studied and I know I'm ready. And he put me out of the classroom. So, of course, I go and I have the baby the next day. Yeah, seriously. And, I stood home for about a week brooding, of course, because I was so upset that now I'm going to fail calculus. There was no way I could do this again. And so I went to this same guy, teacher, and I said, "Listen, I know I'm going to fail, so can I just go ahead and withdraw?" I mean, obviously I had extenuating circumstances. And he was like, "No." And I said, "No." And he goes, "No." And I was like, I'm not going to pass. I can't have this on my transcript. I have plans for my life. And he goes, "Well, you'll just have to figure it out because I will be tutoring you myself. You will get through this."
Wow.
So once again, there was a small hill.
Yeah.
But then he came and, I accepted his help. I ended up getting a B out of the class, which was a hoorah. And, but at the end of the day, I was blessed. I always say, I won't block my blessings because I am truly blessed. And that was one of my blessings, that somebody took the time and the initiative to support me through this very, very difficult time. I mean, and I had excellent nurses because of course he was in the NICU. being that he was only 32 weeks when he was born. But I didn't have, a home. So I kind of just spread all my books out in there at the hospital. I would just bring them with me and spread them all out. The nurses would bring me sandwiches.
Oh.
And I would just stay in the lobby and go to school the next day. So it was definitely a difficult time that, I had depression. I after he came home, I got extremely depressed because now I'm out of school. It's the summer session and I'm taking this preemie home and he was on a strict schedule. I had to go back to my parents' house. It was just very, very difficult. And at that point in time, I struggled a lot. But I had this, my first son's mom, grandma, remember, she helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I left my son with my stepdad, my children with my stepdad, and I just started walking the street. And in the middle of the street, it was cold and I just couldn't go back home. I couldn't. And I called her and I said, look, I can't go back. I need you to pick up my kids. I can't do this anymore. And she says, where are you? So she picked me up and she says, Darwanna, you're way too smart for this. This is ridiculous. And you're being pitiful and having a pity party, and we won't have that. So I'm going to pick up your kids and you're all coming to my house.
Wow.
Seriously.
What did that feel like?
I mean, it was like, I was crying, I was upset, I was depressed, and I was like, why doesn't she understand? When really, she really did understand. Because she told me, you have way too much potential to allow yourself to fall into this abyss. You don't belong there. And one of the things with her was that she kind of took me under her wing because I was so young when I had her grandson. She said, you're smarter than all of my kids. How can I let you not do what you need to do?
Wow.
And so, she, and it's funny because even when I got pregnant with my second son, or my second kid, I should say, she bought all of my maternity clothes. I mean, she was always there for me, more so than my mom. My mom checked out when I got pregnant at 16. So she was done,
So you kind of had two different sides. You had the one side that wasn't supportive, but you were still living there.
Yes.
And then the other side that was telling you, okay, you're smart, you can do this.
Yes.
That's a pretty big conflict.
Yes. And my mom didn't like her because she was so supportive. Because my mom felt like, she was one of these people who felt like tough love was the better love. And despite her knowing, my abilities and the fact that I was very driven, she was never the kind to encourage that. She's like, you do that for you, not for me. Why do I have to recognize it? So it's always something that, you just had to, for yourself, do things for yourself. Everything was for yourself. And I probably am still to this day. It's, oh yeah, I got to do it because it's for myself. I have to do this. Whereas Miss Frazier, that's her name, she was like, no, you have to do it for yourself, but now you have your kids too. You have to do it for your kids. You have to do it for yourself and your kids. And, overall, you have these abilities. I can't see this be wasted, So she was very, 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 I guess, what do you call it? Supportive of my abilities and who I was. She just wanted me to be better. And so my mom, she started to come around a little bit when she saw that I had this breakdown. And then she wanted to be a part of it all. But so what she decided to do was get me a recruiter to go into the Army.
Really?
Yes. So she got this guy, Sergeant Smith, to call me. I never forget the day I was in the Burger King line, and Sergeant Smith called and says, hi. And I said, who are you? And he goes, oh, your mom told me to give you a call because you need to go into the military. It's like, I do? I have kids. I mean, what are you talking about? And he said, well, she's going to take care of your kids and you're going to go into the military. And I said, oh, really? When did that happen? I mean, I didn't know anything about that. It's the end of this summer session after I have this new baby. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I'll talk to you, So I go and I talk to him, and she decides, my first son's grandmother said, no, I'll take care of him for sure. If you're going to do this, I'll take care of him. And my mom says, well, I have the other one. So now they're in competition. So I said, okay, well, so you, at that time you had to sign your kids over. So I did. And I thought, maybe this is my constructive break. Because at this point, I couldn't think of anything else to do.
You were still kind of in that implosion.
I was still, yes. I just couldn't see in front of me. And I felt like, you know what? I'm just finishing school. I had taken I took a physics class, and I struggled. I really struggled in it with these two kids. It was killing me. And I thought, you know what? Maybe this would be the thing to catapult me out of this box that I'm in. It'll give me a chance to get some money. It'll give me a chance to get a car. It'll give me a chance to get a house for my kids. I had nothing. And so I thought, let me just think about it. Let me at least try it. And so I did. And honestly, I think that was the change. That was a turning point for me.
Was that time away?
Yes.
So what do you think your life would have looked like if you would have stayed? Because I think we all hit that point where it's like, I just want to get in the car and drive, or I just want to walk out and not come back. Like, I think every mom has hit that point.
Yes.
What do you think would have happened to you if she hadn't told you stop having a pity party and put on your big girl panties? Like, where would that have gone?
I mean, I really was contemplating suicide.
Yeah.
I was done. I felt destitute. I couldn't think. I just didn't feel worth it. So I don't know. I really had no plan, nothing. It was just, I'd rather just stay outside, and it didn't matter what I did. It just stay away, just stay outside. Maybe somebody will come and kill me, or it was just,
you just hit that breaking point. There's no plan. It's
there's
just
nothing.
Kind of just reacting to everything that comes.
And it was a godsend that I picked up the payphone and called her.
Yeah.
Like, why did I even call her? But I was reaching out for help.
Yeah.
And in her way, she recognized that. She realized that, this child is struggling. And she was a very nurturing mother to her children. So maybe that's the reason I picked it up, because I knew that she would probably be that nurturing person to me. And so, again, I don't know what would have happened.
Well, and I think about like how many people, she was lucky. She got pregnant when she was early. She was lucky. She's a doctor now. She doesn't know what struggle is. She got lucky. And you even talk about your blessings, but like I see you showing up, and Nikki and I tell that to a lot of clients coming through the doors, like just show up. Showing up is half the battle. You know what I mean? Like you kept studying, you kept working hard. You showed up for the test. Yes. You know what I mean? Like... Like he saw, okay, this girl's water has broke. She needs to be out of here. But I mean, you were there. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I can do this. And that's what made him turn around and be that blessing to you, is because you showed up. You were willing to put in the work for your baby's mama. Just that whole, like you were being that mom, even though you were struggling with where you were at. You were still showing up. You were still being that mom. And so she saw, like, okay, I need to pursue you and get you out of this. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Which had to be incredible.
It was incredible.
So what would you tell a mom who is struggling and kind of in one of those lower parts about to climb her hill? What would you tell her?
Reach out. There is someone. It may be a minister, it may be a family member, it may be a friend that you don't even know you have. You think, I don't want to be with the friends, or I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to burden them. But at the end of the day, the persons who love you and who are in your corner are going to be there for you. And we don't always know who that person is. And if you feel a state of despair, honestly, reach out. Again, clergy, friends, family members, aunts, a person at the bus stop. Sometimes you don't know who that person is, and how you can overcome what your plight is. It's hard. It's not easy.
No, and that person I think will always come to you like you did, just walking. You weren't going to call, you weren't going to go back, and then you picked up that payphone and you called. And to think about you in a time like that, I mean, just because, like I said, you're so full of energy, you're vibrant, you're always going, you're always thinking, you're always problem solving, and so to think that you were that lost girl at one point in time is a very hard thing to connect the dots with right now. So I appreciate you coming in today and sharing your story, and just for the amazing person you are in our community even today.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure being here. I haven't talked about that very much, but
you're gonna have to write that book. We'll be ready to see it.
All righty.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you are an expectant mom and just want some extra help with materials, resources, you can text us at 575-520-1147. You can also text Helpline to 313131 if you are struggling in an unplanned pregnancy and would like a place in your area that can help. And just remember, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We have our videos on YouTube, our podcasts. You can like, review, comment. We'd love to hear feedback from you. And just remember, stars can't shine without darkness.